For all my sports fans out there, consider for a moment if Ben Roethlisberger's arm was on Kyler Murray's body, or if Lionel Messi wore a size 14 shoe. It would change their mechanics and frankly change the way they play the game. In the sports of football and soccer, players use their extremities to catch, throw, and strike the ball directly. In the game of lacrosse, however, players use a netted stick to catch, throw, and shoot a ball. This disparity between games like football, soccer, and basketball have made this netted stick into an extension of a player's body in the modern era. A good stringer is able to fit a stick to another player's mechanics, not vice versa. Today I'll be showing you how an experienced stringer creates a custom pocket for a particular player's needs. The first step is the top string, as you see here. It starts with a tie on, and I'll show that step later. For now, each knot is done by going behind the head, through the hole, under, and through the mesh. From there, one goes back around the string and tighten it down, like so. Then, go back through the mesh from behind, up through the front of the head, and down through, creating a knot with tension in between each one. Next is the tie off, which is the same as the tie on. In order to do this, one goes down through the back of the mesh, in through the side of the head, here, and pull tightly. Then loop once around, repeat that process, and back through the head. Then pull tight and tie knot. At the end of this process, one should have something like this. Knots with a lot of tension in between each one. The next step in the process is the sidewall. Now for today's purposes, I have limited time, so I'm only going to be showing from the bottom. As you can see, when stringing the sidewall of a lacrosse head, the goal on at least the first 3 holes is to pull tension down on the mesh, as you see here. Pulling down, creating tension, and creating a smooth path for the ball to release from the stick. So to show one of these knots, the first step is going to be to skip a couple holes, go through the head, back up through the mesh, like so, and around and through the back of this string. Make sure to pull tights at all points where the string turns. Creating a knot on the mesh that pulls it down tight. Now this is for the top of the lacrosse head. For the bottom, however, the goal is not necessarily to pull each diamond down tightly, but the goal is to let them ride on top of the plastic in order to create what we call the pocket. Now the pocket is this. It's shaped just like the ball, and it's a very smooth path for the ball to travel out of. So as I mentioned earlier, you don't have to change your mechanics when throwing the ball. You change your pocket to match your mechanics. So to create this pocket lower on the head, rather than going through the head and then the mesh, we will first be going through the front of the mesh out the back, through the outside of the sidewall, creating a string for this to ride on, and then we're simply going to put a knot behind it to maintain tension. So we go back down through the string, like so. Pull it tight against the head, and tighten it down. And that's the most important step, the most variable step. As you can see with the 3 example heads I have here, they're all very different in their pockets. And that's because these 3 sticks were for 3 different players at 3 different positions. The next step in the process is the bottom string or throat string. Now there's a lot of different variations of this. My personal favorite is to just go through the holes of the mesh, subtracting 1 from the small rows and subtracting 2 from the large rows. So this one is going to end on a 10 diamond row, which means I will be going through 6 diamonds. 2 on each side. So I simply go up through the front of the mesh, count over from the side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and back down through the other side, like so. And then we feed it through the next bottom string hole. And that creates the bottom of the pocket. Then we simply tie a knot underneath. And we have our pocket. The other option for these throat strings, which I often recommend to defensemen who use a 6-foot long stick, is to use a shooting lace for the throat string because it allows for a softer feel. The final step in stringing a lacrosse head is the shooting lace. Now, in order to do a shooting lace, the easiest way is to start between the mesh and the head and pull the string halfway through. So now I have halves. Next, I will take one side, for now I'll start with the back, and weave through the diamonds in the same row. The key to stringing a strong shooting lace is to keep the string facing the same way the entire time. Through the last hole, pull through and move to the back of the head. So now we have something like this, and from the front. Next, we'll take the other end of the string and we're going to feed it, we're going to weave it back through, except we're going to go under the first string in the front and over the first string in the back. You can see his pattern starting to form there. And in the end, what you get is a nice looking hockey lace across, beautifully tensioned top string and sidewalls, and a pocket perfect for every player. This truly is an extension of a lacrosse player's body. Hope everyone learned something today. Go Mocs.